sorry, cheating, looking at my computer. It's about 1:10, thereabouts. And it is also the 24th of February, 2024. Um, we are inching ever closer to the meteorological first day of spring, which is March 1st, versus the astronomical first day of spring, which is on the 19th this year. I think some days it's on, some years it's on the 20th. I think it's different. This year is a leap year, so we have 29 days of February. Um, I like February. Not my all-time favorite month. I think that would be June. Um, but February things start shifting. At least here in the Mid-Atlantic, we still get some cold. We still get some snow on occasion. Sometimes some major snowstorms, even in March. But we also get some spring-like conditions. And although I've learned to abide in winter, being at peace in winter, and that took me some time because it's not a seasonal depression, except in the course that it's present every season, but it has a tendency to intensify uh, during the winter months. And it's not because I'm less active. I try to get out as much as possible. Just something about the layers being insulated and isolated from the warmth of the sun. Um, but come February, things get hopeful. Um, Plus, I've mentioned before, it's the month my father was born, 1927. He was born in a blizzard at home. His mother was in labor. His father told his oldest brother, who I believe was 20 plus years older than him, to older than my father, to hook the sleigh, hook the horses to a sleigh and go over the mountain. And this was in Pennsylvania, rural Pennsylvania, and bring the doctor, which my uncle did. But by the time he got back, my father was born in the house, um, with without a doctor. I believe there might have been a midwife present. I'm not 100% sure. At that time, my grandmother had lots of babies. Not everyone survived. Not every child survived. So she was experienced in her own childbearing, as lots of women were during those years. So anyway, yeah, February. It's a meaningful month for me. And we edge closer to that warm weather. I spend some more time outside. Um, I've been adding nature shorts to my channel, um, which brings me a lot of pleasure to, because I absolutely love my area. I love my neighborhood. And I present it all as, I talked quite a bit yesterday about Niskara Yoga, which means natural yoga. And it's a phrase that was coined by a follower of Nisargadatta Maharishi and his style of yoga, which was just effortless, spontaneous, abiding moment by moment by moment, joyfully, always coming back to that presence of I am, the I am presence. A lot of people take that I am presence as this magical canopy of existence, that things manifest from that, which is sort of true, but at the same time, it's more basic. It's our reality. It's the primordial force that brought the universe into existence, that existed before the universe even came into existence. It is where the singularity of energy was, the absolute nothingness from which everything came. And Nisargadatta Maharishi would always tell his followers, it's simple. You don't need to meditate. You don't need to do special breath work. You don't need to do yoga postures. Just return to the I am presence. Now, of course, he had his own practices that he did, and it really is that simple. Just keep returning back to the I am presence. Remind yourself, I am is a springboard of everything else. And we use it in speech. I am well. I am a lawyer, which I'm not, by the way. Um, I am Eric. I am. That's the presence. When Moses climbed Mount Sinai, I might be wrong about that, to receive the Ten Commandments, and he asked the burning bush, who should he say that he received these from? And the flame replied, I am that I am. Tat Tavam Ase, Sanskrit. I am that. You are that. All is that. Um, and that's it. That is the basis of reality. From the absolute, we have the manifest world. From the unmanifest to the manifest. That's also the basis of the meditation that I practice and that I teach, primordial sound meditation. And that is taking the primordial sound of your mantra, the quality of the vibration that existed the moment you were born. Mocha McCarty is here saying hello. Hey, Mocha. And our friend Destiny Forever Walks, PhD, is here. Hello, Eric. How are you? I'm doing well. So, primordial sound meditation. This is where it diverts a bit from transcendental meditation. Both are Vedic mantra-based meditation practices, but with the primordial sound meditation, it is, again, based upon the quality of the vibration the moment you were born, the moment you came from, before there was a you, when you were everything, when you were simply floating in the abyss, not even an idea yet, but you still existed. There's a paradox there. How you could be in non-existence and yet still exist, because in reality, in essence, you are non-existence itself. And now you're in existence. And you came into existence upon the vibrational quality of your primordial sound. There's 108 of them. This is what the ancient rishis and seers heard, and they recorded them. And now, in primordial sound meditation, that's what we meditate on. A very effortless, easy, gentle meditation practice of simply thinking your primordial sound. It begins with Om, Om being the primordial sound itself, the mother of all sound. When the universe came into existence, when the universe burst forth from that singularity, the sound was Om. The beginning of Genesis. I might do some Bible Googling, which is always one of my favorite things to do. Mocha and Destiny are exchanging some highs. And in the beginning, I know Destiny will know this much better than myself. In the beginning was the sound, and the sound was Om. That is, of course, biblically speaking, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. It's the same thing. In the beginning was the sound, and the sound was Om, vibration. God, in essence, is the admittance of all vibrational forces. Every vibration comes straight from God. And we can say that God is just primordial creation itself. All of it's just terms. And this is why, and it amazes me still, it will amaze me always, that people fight over terms. My belief is better because I believe it, because I think it. It's all based on thoughts. And in the absence of that thought, there'd be nothing to fight about, nothing to debate. This is why the beginning of the Tao Te Ching says the Tao that can be told is not the true Tao. And then, of course, it goes on for 108 verses describing the Tao. Again, we're back to a paradox. You want to live in a spiritual frame of mind? Simple. accept paradoxes. It's the nature of the universe. It's the nature of the mind. It's the nature of who we are. Um, we want to be at peace, and yet we go to war to achieve it. Paradox. Humans are crazy. So, um, again, it's a simple practice. We meditate on Om, and then we have a seed mantra. The seed mantra is that sound that existed the moment you were born, and it's a secret. I can't tell you. I can't tell you mine. Um, I could tell you yours secretly, but I would need information, and I would need to look it up on my teacher source that I have, being a teacher of primordial sound meditation. Um, and I'm actually happy to do so for anyone who would like to learn primordial sound meditation. And then it ends with Namaha, which is a greeting or a salutation related to Namaste. So it's Om and the Bij seed mantra, Namaha. And we simply think that. And you have a thought, and you go back to the mantra. And you have more thoughts, and you go back to the mantra. Somewhere, as you're going back like that, the mind falls into the gap. And the gap is that space between every thought. More so, it's what's beneath every thought. It is the capacity, silence, stillness, the capacity to hold things. As they say in Zen, it's the space within the vase. Or for Mocha's sake, it's the space within the vase. Because she's fancier than I am. It's the space within the vase that holds the flowers. It's the space between each note that makes the song. And a weirder cone, Zen cone, it's the space between the bars that keeps the tiger caged. That doesn't make as much sense to me. But I like saying it anyway. Destiny says, I like that. God in essence, God is only a title. Exactly. It's the divine creator universe that gives life to everything from the beginning to the end, with every breath to breathe in our existence. Beautifully said, as always, Destiny. And isn't it amazing that people will fight over that term? Don't call my God this. My God is greater than your God. My God has a better name than your God. Absolutely amazing. And all the stuff that God says in a religion isn't even true, sad to say. And by that, I mean keeping certain parts of the body covered, eating fish on a Friday. None of it is wrong, I guess, human-wise. Well, we could say some of it is wrong, but they're just observances. This is what I love about yoga, is they give you, as well as Buddhism, they give you suggestions. If you would like to suffer less in life, try this. Walk this path. Buddha said he taught one thing and one thing only, and that was suffering and the way out of suffering. And he did so pretty succinctly. Very similar to the the 8 limbs of yoga and the Eightfold Path of Buddhism. They diverge, but in essence, they're the same. And they both achieve the same results. The whole thing about yoga is how to escape the fluctuations of the mind, fluxations of the mind, in order to arrive to the peacefulness that is ever present beneath every thought that we have. We can think of thoughts as being a turbulence within the mind. Turbulence isn't necessarily good, it isn't necessarily bad, it's just up and a down. However, when we get heavily involved in that turbulence, and we believe the turbulence, and I'm reading Cobra Knight 666. I'll have you know, I just get out of the shower. If you had caught me half an hour ago, I would gladly hold out my stinky toes to the camera. um, Actually, I wouldn't. So don't come back tomorrow and then like half an hour early and say, okay, now I expect to see your stinky toes. I will never do that. Um, uh, Kobo, I'd like to see the nice clean toes. You know, I would, but my religion forbids me from showing my toes on YouTube. Um, anyway, where were we? And they do fight over that, says Destiny. And it's ridiculous. It certainly is. Because we are one and serve the same higher power. It's a title that we use to address our divine that separates us and brings us into warfare. And, you know, again, you summed that up so nicely. And it's absolutely amazing that we're just fighting over a label. It's the same when we think of territories. We're fighting over an invisible line, or we're fighting over a fenced in place. I belong here, you belong there. Don't cross the border. And yet, the entire Bible is filled, most specifically the New Testament, but not alone. If you read through the Old Testament and you hear talk of the stranger, welcome the stranger. Who was it that said that? And the stranger is symbolic for those from other lands, and we welcome them. That we're giving um, clear instructions on how to treat people, people from other lands, people different than us. And yet, somehow, in all this time, and claiming to be um, followers, we miss that point entirely. And yet we focus so narrowly on the little tiny aspects that just suit our personality. They suit our frame of mind. Um, let's see. Um, One of the most cited passages dealing and with welcoming the stranger is from Matthew 25, verse 31 through 40. I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. Um, there you have it. And you know what you don't find in the Bible are some of the social commentary that divides us so greatly today. It's just not really present. And it's specifically not present in the New Testament, that just doesn't deal with it. Jesus came as a reformer with a message of reform, was to escape a whole lot of the baggage of the Old Testament, not to be carried forward. And yet, we've carried so much forward, and again, just to suit our own personal ideology. Destiny is sending love and blessings to you, Cobra King. Um, and you know what? I'm going to join Destiny in offering some love and blessings to Cobra King as well. Um, Here's a little quote, and I don't know who this is from, but it's on why Christians should welcome strangers. God has set a high standard for treating those who are foreigners. His people are to love them like we love ourselves, and to treat them as citizens. And the reason given, because God, the I Am, commands it. So, as always, we took a mighty leap from me talking about February, the changing of the seasons, to primordial sounds and mantra meditation, to quantum physics and the great Om. And now we're offering some Bible quotes. That's what I love about these conversations. They're free roaming. You never know where they're going to go, and it doesn't matter where they're going to go. I have absolutely no point to make, nothing to teach, but I do learn an awful lot um, just having these conversations. I learn an awful lot just by talking because, again, it's free form. So when I talk, it's not to offer anything that I'm teaching someone, but I'm revealing some of my own thoughts that are surprising, and I learn from them. And then I have my friend Destiny here, who always, I never leave one of the live conversations that we have without having learned something valuable, something meaningful from my friend Destiny, as well as all those others who stop by. Which reminds me, I did want to talk a little bit about my channel. I watched Chris Schwama, uh, and I always pronounce his last name wrong, and I don't feel so bad anymore because he revealed yesterday that that is not his real last name. So, um, and I forget what his real last name is, and I most certainly could not pronounce it anyway, if I did remember. And he was talking about how when he first got his channel, he had wanted to monetize, and he sort of let that go a bit. I've gone the opposite direction where I had no intention of. I thought if I got 20 people subscribed, watch me do burpees, I would be doing pretty well. Um, and I grew into the idea of actually expanding the channel and getting monetized. And because I need so little to get by, um, to actually doing it to see what I can do just talking. Is it possible to uh, make a living? And I've talked to Destiny about this as well as others. Richard Runs Trails, the Jay Jordan, uh, the Reverend Terminator, they've all had big impact. And, is it possible to make a living just talking to a camera and doing some burpees in your basement and offering, maybe some fitness insight, maybe a little bit. I like Destiny's description. The entire channel is about living a yogic lifestyle from my perspective, no one else's. And you know what? How freeing that is? Because from my perspective, I can't go wrong because it's always my perspective. I don't have to share things um, that are in accordance to any set perimeters, any set pattern of this is how yoga should be presented. This is all my interpretation of yoga, and it goes back to, again, what we talked about yesterday, the Niskara yoga, the natural yoga. And that includes doing the nature shorts. But that's the thing I wanted to put out there. The regular shorts that I do of me reading and breaking it up into pieces, I think I'm going to suspend that for a while and just do the nature shorts. But as I did yesterday, I'm going to have an extra live session later in the day where I read the entire blog, whatever comes up on my either Facebook memories or what I wrote today, or something occurs to me to read. And that way I don't need to break it up into shorts. And if anyone has any questions about what I write, why I write it, I can answer it. But I'd like the whole session to be like 10 minutes or less so that I can read, maybe answer a question or two if anyone is there or, responds, and then just let it go. And I'm actually loving doing the nature shorts, my own and the stuff that Mocha shares, uh, because I'm just highlighting my neighborhood, the area that I live in, as well as places that are nearby, places that I visit, um, all that kind of stuff. So I think with all that said, and it being Saturday, I know people have things to do. It's the weekend. We're going to call it a day. Destiny, I appreciate you stopping in and spending some time with me. Mocha, I always appreciate you coming by. Um, and Cobra King, I'm sorry to disappoint you, my friend, but I do appreciate you coming by. And um, I will see everyone. We'll be back tomorrow. Actually, yeah, I'll be back later tonight for a short live session. I'll be reading from the blog. Um, let me know if anyone watches. Let me know what you think. I would appreciate it. So, guys, thank you again. Mocha, Destiny, Cobra King. I will see you guys later.